Won't you give me your love? Give me your love.
Greetings y'all, the name's JUNA.R.J and summer has officially begun and it is the end of June 2019 and I thought why not I do a movie review all in one video. Now there are some movies that I was able to watch in June, movies that were released in June. However, those movies got a delayed release. Movies including X-Men Dark Phoenix, The Secret Life of Pets 2, Men in Black International, and Toy Story 4, which was actually released on the same day as the US, but I watched it late. So I thought why not I do it in one movie review, which I've wanted to do that back in November, which got delayed and never happened. So now that June is about to end, I thought that I'm free in school, all my assignments are done, so I'm finally free, I get to do whatever I want. So I wanted to still share my thoughts on these movies that I watched. All the movies that I reviewed, the list will be down in the description below alongside with their time codes. So, but for now on, let's start with our first movie. Dark Phoenix got a delayed release in where I live. It got delayed release multiple times in the real world. And when I finally get to see Dark Phoenix, I was a little bit nervous knowing that this is a terrible X-Men movie. So I walked inside with no emotions whatsoever. And after seeing Dark Phoenix, the result, well, I'm overall fine with this film. What I'm also glad about is that I was able to watch this movie on a cheap price. Let's say I spent $2 on this film. I just spent less than $2 on this movie, especially in a mall that's near my school. And of course, I don't want to invite any of my family members to watch this movie because of how terrible the movie are. I mean, I asked one of them if they want to ever watch an X-Men movie and they'd be happy because they know the X-Men are great. But not this one. I see the cons that are happening in the X-Men Dark Phoenix movie, and the cons with this movie, I mean, there were some enjoyable moments in this film, but the movie is just tearing apart as it is the concept of the film. I mean, the X-Men members, they're tearing apart, which is the point of this film, but not that the characters are falling apart, that the characters themselves are falling apart. So they don't feel like they're themselves anymore, and they don't feel like they're the characters that we used to see in the first film, in the previous film. And one of them had a bad acting, one of them had a bad makeup, which is why I'm glad she's off the list later on. Some of the mutant characters did not have much appearance. I understand what happened to them, but they tried to embrace them. They tried to pick the ones that are important and the ones that are not important, ones they need a break throughout this film. There were some enjoyable moments in the character. I mean, the actions are great, face it, I enjoyed the action, but throughout the characters are a little bit of a problem throughout the movie. Some of the characters has a great acting in this film, but some of the characters, they just don't feel like that they're themselves. And the fact that this movie is written by a writer of the X-Men films, he also directed this film, and the movie is also shorter than any other X-Men films. I mean, it's 1 hour and 54 minutes, which is overall fine. It should be enough to be able to, you know, to show them all the plot, but to me, it feels a little bit just, you know, a little bit shorter. Like, it could have been more better, it could have been more intense. We need more of the action, that's it. But sometimes the X-Men are like, they're focusing on many things. So overall, I really don't want to discuss about Dark Phoenix. I mean, Dark Phoenix, there were some enjoyable moments, but as the movie itself, I just don't think it really works well when it comes to the X-Men trying to get along with this in this movie, because they couldn't just get along. I mean, but the actions are overall great. I'm gonna say X-Men Dark Phoenix is a dark finale that tears down the franchise. Well, I'm gonna say that the movie is just overall fine. I mean, it just didn't live up to the hype after several delays. But the bonus point in this film is that Hans Zimmer, he finally returned to the superhero industry, although he returned in a terrible one, but his score is still excellent. And also, Cody Smith-McPhee as Nightcrawler, he did great in the film, which is why I made this meme over here. So, moving on to our next film.
Then I look at you, and the world's alright with me.
I watched The Secret Life of Pets 2 personally because I don't know if any of my family members were familiar with this movie, and I walked in this movie as the only teenager watching alone, while around me are, well, families. And I still see this as an enjoyable movie. I did like the first film. I was able to see it again on the plane on my way to Washington, D.C. But when I see the sequel feels a little bit different to me. I mean, I still see it as a Secret Life of Pets film, but this one, the sequel just goes in a different direction. From the trailers and the marketings, it feels like they just show us the characters that we've seen from the first film and then just show them in a different way. Like, for example, Captain Snowball, who's currently this Superman wannabe. And then the trailer just shows us different things. Like, we get the character introduction. Until I saw the movie feels a little bit different. The movie is kind of mixed in terms of its plot. Like, there's this one time where Max and Duke, they're going on a family trip, and then suddenly Gidget was given a job where she's told to take care of the toy, and then suddenly Captain Snowball, as he is this Superman wannabe, is trying to save a tiger from a circus. They don't seem like they're together. They don't seem connected to each other. They just feel a little bit connected, but just mixed in separate ways. I mean, this movie could just work as a short film, like a collection of cartoon. Like, if it's a cartoon show, it works actually. It works in a a short film. That would actually work. I would enjoy it. But seeing this in the film, it feels like it's a collection of short stories that just try to mash up in a different time and not at the right time. The first film works. Max and Duke meet each other. They get lost. Snowball wants to kill them, and then Gidgets and their friend tries to save her. They're still in one plot. But in the second film, Max and Duke, they went to a family trip. And then suddenly, while the rest, they're just like, doing their own things. And then suddenly, they just get connected, like, after the third act of this film. And I just realized Max and Duke had a child. They were like teaching young children. And around me are actually young children. I mean, this movie would have been made for adults so that we can teach them how to educate young children. But at least the young children in my theater would still enjoy the characters at least. I'm gonna say The Secret Life of Pets 2 is a sequel that's still enjoyable for the family in separate ways. Well, when I mean separate ways, it's just, it's still enjoyable, but, it could have been better if it's separated. I did not have plans to watch Men in Black International, and I never get to watch the first and the third film because I did not have time. I mean, I know FDA Grey, I own Straight Outta Compton on DVD. I did not watch The Fate of the Furious, but I will later on. And then Men in Black International, and then it just happened. I mean, from the moment I heard the news that, hey, FDA Grey is gonna make another Men in Black film, I'm like, okay. And then suddenly they're gonna have Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson. I'm like, okay. I mean, this is not my second time seeing them together. I mean, I've seen them in Marvel movies. I've seen them in Thor Ragnarok and Avengers Endgame recently. And then they're together. They have a great friendship alongside it, Men in Black International. I mean, the thing is, it's that Sony is just trying to make a fun movie. They're just trying to have fun making this movie, which is the issue with this film. I mean, okay, face it, Chris Hemsworth, he did great with the film. He did great in this movie. Tessa Thompson also did great with the movie. But to me, Chris Hemsworth just focuses more on himself. He feels like he is himself than how he is compared to what he's supposed to be in the film. He's supposed to be a serious agent. I mean, he's a fun agent, but he's more to himself every time I see him, and I just don't know why, because it's either me or just the movie just trying to have fun with it. I mean, you got Liam Neeson in this film as well, and Liam Neeson was okay. I remember my friend told me something bad's gonna happen to Liam Neeson, and then it just did. I mean, face it, Man in Black, it's from the front cover, it's these two people, these two agents, they're in a black suit trying to solve a mystery, and in the inside, it's actually science fiction. There's a galactic world that's happening. There's aliens that has been living around among our planet, and you don't have to care these type of planets. You just care that they existed among us, and then they're trying to do this kind of like this detective that tries to solve that one alien is a rogue or a hostile, which is the point of the Man in Black movies. To me, the issue with this movie is that the movie does not focus on what's supposed to be the plot. Like, they just show the action and that's it. And then there are just, random things that are happening throughout the film. The point of the film is that Tessa Thompson and Chris Hemsworth, they both share a great friendship in this film, but they couldn't get along with the missions. And then some of the characters just feel skeptical. They just came out of nowhere, and then they just tell you these things, and then suddenly, yeah, that's it. It just ended. There's a moment there where there's like a moment where they had this backstory that it was finally reunited, and then suddenly it just stopped. Like, that's it. That's it, the end. The third act also played, and I was like, yeah, that's it. Like, it just ended just like that. Like, the movie did not have the energy to build the fun that could be made in this film. Like, I wish it could have been more exciting. They would focus more on the adventure, but instead, they're just focusing on themselves. They're just focusing on them. They're trying to get to their adventure while trying to make sure nothing happens. And then it just happens. I just don't know what to say about this film. But face it, I mean, the CGI, the aliens are great in the film. I mean, some of the characters are just, well, they're just overall fine. But the action, the adventure in the film, it just didn't have the energy to, to build up that plot. I'm going to say Men in Black International is a movie that's better neutralized. Just get me a neutralizer. I'm going to put a pen at myself, look at it, and then I can just watch all the first 3 Men in Black films and then watch this movie all over again. I mean, face it, I mean, I'm glad before I went to prom, I'm able to make that thumbnail straight for this video. And now for our 4th movie review.
God only knows what I'd be without you. God only knows what I'd be.
I have no problem Disney making another Toy Story film. I mean, I'm not going to be those type of guys like, oh, Disney's just using money. They just want more money. That's it. They make another Toy Story film. That's great. I don't want to be those type of fans because I grew up watching Toy Story and I already know that Toy Story 3 was a tragic end. It was an ending that gives us tears, that gives us an emotional heart. But when it comes to Toy Story 4, I had no problem with that. But the beginning of the film had a reason. They had a reason. It's like, oh, you forgot to mention something in between the second and the third act of the film. So they were able to have that. as their main reason. So that's why these characters, they finally return. I mean, it's not about the new characters. I mean, it's about, we have new characters. Yeah, it's about the new characters, and some of them are returning characters. And some of the characters from the first film and all the third film from the trilogy, they were able to make an appearance, but they did not have enough role. I mean, the main premise, the main star of this film is Woody and Buzz and all the new gang. I thought we were going to focus on the first topic, which is about Forky trying to see himself as a toy more than trash, but instead we get more of the second topic about trying to find a way to get home. As soon as Woody meets Bo Peep, I thought they were able to reunite in a happy way. I mean, when you see the third ending, it's really sad, but the fourth ending, you just start asking yourself, why did they make that choice? And I'm trying my best not to spoil the ending, but like, you see the ending, I was like, they made that choice, it just happened. And I just wish that this would be the final Toy Story 4. After that ending, that's it, the end. That's already your epilogue over there. Toy Story 4 is already the epilogue to Toy Story 3. And they already give us like 2 double endings. The first 2 Toy Story films were all fine because it tries to be family friendly, but the third and the fourth Toy Story film tries to be emotional. It can still be enjoyable, but in the end, it gives you a very emotional ending. You're gonna have to accept what just happened in the ending. So after that ending, you just respect them, and then you just leave the Toy Story franchise like it's one of the most respected franchise ever. And I still love this movie until now. There are also some humor in this movie and also some great characters. I mean, I thought Keanu Reeves, which unexpectedly plays as Duke Kaboom, he did great in this film. Keegan-Michael Key and Jordan Peele playing as Bunny and Ducky, they did great in the film. They're the funniest part of the film. They're the part that make me laugh, and I had a fun time in the movie theater, laughing my butts off, seeing whatever the funny things that they're doing in the film. I'm gonna say Toy Story 4 is the roundup that still delivers the Toy Story fans emotional and laughter. I still enjoy this as a Toy Story fan. I mean, I might get Toy Story 1 and Toy Story 2. I'm still gonna get that, but Toy Story 4, I still want that. Alright, so that's all my movie review on all the movies that I watched in June, including for all these posters I've shown over here. I might be skipping Annabelle Comes Home. I never watched the Conjuring universe because when Annabelle Comes Home, I'll be far from home, if you know what I mean. I think I might skip Yesterday, which I don't know if I might watch this movie. I mean, I saw the trailer, maybe my mom would be interested, but I will be back for Spider-Man Far From Home, and after that I'll be actually Far From Home, which I might do a vlog about it. But yeah, those are all the movies I've seen in June. Tell me what was your favorite movies that you've seen in June. Tell me what was your best favorite film, and what's the worst film that you've seen in June 2019. But yeah, that was all the movies that I've watched in 2019 of June, and my reviews on it. Here's the outro. That is all for this video. If you do enjoy this video, give it a like. That would be very helpful. And in the description, you'll find the link so you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Google+. I appreciate you guys for watching this, and I'll see you another time. Bye-bye.